Oi there, Chummers, and welcome to the Sixth World. And as you probably guessed by the title of today's video, we are not talking about Shadowrun, but we are, in fact, talking about Cy Borg. Now, for those of you who don't know what Cy Borg is, have no idea what I'm talking about, Cy Borg is a rules-light, grimdark cyberpunk RPG put out by Free League Publishing. It's by the same people that created Morkborg, so it's very fast-paced, very violent, very dark, very gritty. And I like it. I've done some videos of Cy Borg in the past. I did a review of Cy Borg. I was provided with a copy of Cy Borg from Free League Publishing to review. Did a couple of videos, had some more planned, but they didn't really do that great, so I kind of shelved it for some other projects. But today I wanted to talk about Cy Borg, and specifically, I wanted to talk about the experience that I had running Cy Borg for the first time for my gaming group. I ran this for them last Sunday. We actually ran the adventure from the asset pack, so it's kind of like a I don't want to say it's an introductory adventure or anything like that, but it's a pre-made adventure, and I say pre-made adventure. It's really just a little blurb on the back of a poster. But there's enough there that you can we actually managed to get a couple of hours of gaming out of it. So anyway, like I said, ran it for the first time for my gaming group last Sunday. We had been doing a Deadlands campaign, but that campaign finished. Nobody else had anything planned for that week, so I went ahead and stepped in and ran a little bit of Cy Borg. And let me tell you, it was really fun. So the first thing that I want to talk about with regards to Cy Borg and how that went was character creation. Character creation in a lot of games is, I don't want to say it's a problem, but it's, at best, it's a process. Let's just say. A lot of games out there, particularly games like D&D and Pathfinder and that sort of thing, there are a lot of character options. There's a lot of different ways to build your character, and you actually have to, for some of these games, you actually have to plan out what abilities you're going to get for your character, what stats you're going to need, and so on and so forth. Or else you can have a character that is not very good in later levels of the game. Cy Borg gives you two options. First option is you can do everything, the traditional way, choose everything that you want, choose your gear, roll your stats just like normal, or you can literally randomize everything, even down to the pocket lint or potential pocket lint that you have in your pockets. There are enough charts in that game to where you can actually get down to that level. So character creation was actually very, very quick. With some systems, I've had character creation go on for a very long time. I think the worst experience with character creation that I ever had was when we played Rifts back in high school, and character creation took about 8 hours. Yeah, it was not a very fun time. Even games like Shadowrun, building a character can take a while because there's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of things that you have to do, lots of different moving parts that you need to pay attention to when you're building a character in that system. But not so with Cy Borg. And actually, the players loved the character creation for the most part. It took us probably about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half tops, for 6 people to create 6 different characters. And these characters were varied. We had two players that rolled up a cyber slasher, but we had another player that rolled up the gearhead, which is like the rigger class in the game. We had another one who was a nanomancer, kind of like the mage class in that game. We had 2 that had rolled up some corporate heavy hitters. So we actually had a pretty good selection of people. We had some muscle, we had a sort of a face character, we had transportation and that sort of thing. So we ended up getting a fairly good mix of characters. And there's one player in particular in my group who really enjoyed character creation. He has a really hard time creating characters in any game he's playing. His D&D character, he spent literally weeks agonizing. Uh, by D&D, I mean Pathfinder. He created Druid, and he spent literally weeks agonizing over every decision that he was making because he wanted to build the best character that he could. He wanted to get the best abilities, and so that he would be, very powerful and useful as the game progressed. But he said Cyborg, he didn't have to do that. He rolled everything randomly. He wrote it down, and what he got is what he got. And he actually ended up being um, the most powerful combat character um, in the party, because he ended up, the things he rolled, he ended up getting like a massive area of effect cannon. He also ended up rolling like heavy duty combat armor. So he was big, he was bad, he was nasty, and he never hit once with his big cannon throughout the entire evening. So but he had a great time creating character creation. He specifically told me that he loved the randomness of character creation in Cyborg, and how he didn't have to agonize over his choices. He didn't really have to think a whole lot about it. So that was fun. I actually, for me, character creation is a fun part of the game. But again, it's also the most difficult part of the game a lot of times, because, again, as I've said before, you want to build the best character that you possibly can. And there's some systems where, if you are not very careful and meticulous about how you build your character, you are going to have somebody who's completely useless as you get into later levels of the game. But Cyborg, like I said, character creation, nice and easy. Everything flowed pretty well. There were a little bit of there were a couple things in there that were unclear, but we managed to figure them out. Or I just made rulings that moved the game along in that aspect. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about was the pacing of the game during combat. Combat in Cyborg is very, very fast, very, very fluid, and it's very, very easy on the Game Master. A lot of systems, you have to track initiatives, you have to figure out who's going to go first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth, and you have to do that every single combat round. Or at the very least, that first round, you write down a bunch of initiatives, and then you have to keep track of everything. You don't really have to do that with Cyborg. There's not an initiative to speak of. You just roll to see which side goes first. 1 to 3, the enemies go first. 4 to 6, the players go first. And then during the actual combat itself, players are the only ones rolling to hit. Critters and NPCs and that sort of thing are not rolling to hit, but the players are rolling to dodge their attacks, which, again, I thought it flowed very well. It was very fast-paced. We had a couple of combats during our session. It wasn't a very long session, and it wasn't a very big adventure. But we did have a couple of combats in there, and we were able to get those over and done with a minimal of us and everybody being able to participate in the action in some way, shape, or form, which I thought was really cool. And narratively, it flowed really well because we didn't have all of these different calculations that we had to worry about. We didn't have to really stop the game and figure out, okay, I've got my dexterity is this. I rolled this, but I've also got this feat and this feat and this feat. So what's my initiative score? Oh, we didn't have to stop and do any of those calculations. It was nice. It was simple. It was easy to understand. Combat itself, I didn't really find it all that deadly compared to some combats that I've had in the past. But then again, I didn't plan this out myself. It was kind of a spur of the moment type of thing almost. And I didn't really go as hard as I do at my players in combat usually, because it's a brand new system. I want to kind of, feel things out, see how it's going to go. I could definitely see how combat could be very, very deadly for players, because there are some things within the rules of Cyborg that make it pretty deadly, or at the very least make it kind of difficult for the players. But yeah, it flowed nicely. It fit the narrative, so no issues with combat. And overall, everybody just had a really great time with the game. We got through that adventure in kind of a way that was unexpected on my end, but really, I should have seen it coming, because the way the players resolved the mission Yeah, it was pretty much on brand for them. Lots of violence, lots of explosions, lots of people dying, that sort of thing. Now, the only issue that I have with Cyborg is character advancement. Character advancement is a little, I don't want to say it's a little unclear, but I don't know if I like it because it's not really as robust as it is in some games. Which, fair enough. I mean, it's a rules light game, so it's not going to be as chunky and crunchy as it is in some games. But it was interesting. So when you do character advancement in Cyborg, number one, the GM is deciding when characters advance, and you can advance whenever that happens. You can advance at the end of a mission, you can advance when you get a certain number of credits, or when you accomplish certain things, whatever. I went ahead and I just leveled everybody up at the end of the mission. But with leveling up, you roll under you so you roll a d6 against all of your stats, and if you roll equal to or under the modifier of that stat, the stat goes up by 1. So it kind of ensures really that you're going, if you've got your stats at like all ones, it kind of ensures that you're going to be going up, and gaining in power in some way. I don't really know if I like that aspect. And then there was also another, I'm forgetting one part of character advancement. Um, I forget what it was. Oh, you also have to roll like equal to or under your toughness modifier to get more HP or something like that. But there was another table where it was like roll a d6 on a 1 to 3, you don't find anything. On a 4 to 6, you find something random in your pocket. That I don't really know if I like that sort of thing, but yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I might poke around online and see what other people have done for character advancement in Cyborg. That's really the only part of the game that I didn't really like all that much. Also, with the Nanomancer class, which is kind of like the kind of like a Technomage, there's not really a clear way on how a Technomancer can gain more powers, at least that I could find. So what we decided was, at the whenever for the player, whenever he levels up his character, he can go ahead and like commune with his nanites or whatever, and meditate, and he gets like a 20% chance whenever he levels up to gain a new power, which I think is probably a fair way to do it for nanomancers and things like that. But I mean, if anybody else out there has any suggestions on that, let me know. Or if you've done something different for nanomancers to help them kind of gain power in parity with some of the other players who can like just buy cyberware, and extra equipment and that sort of thing, let me know in the comment section. The other thing that one of my players had an issue with was there wasn't a whole. This person loves buying guns and gear and ammo and that sort of thing, especially cybernetics. She always plays a street samurai whenever we run Shadowrun. She always plays the same street samurai whenever we run Shadowrun. And her issue was there wasn't a whole lot for her to choose from, when she was trying to decide what to spend her money on, what extra stuff, what extra gear to get. Which, I see the point, fair enough. My counter to that was, yes, but it's a rules light system, so you're not going to have nearly as many items as you would in Shadowrun, or something like that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to tell, if you tell anybody, if you see something, if you don't see something on the regular cybernetics table that you want, and you can justify it and it's not too game breaking or nasty, just let me know and we'll figure out a cost for it. I think that's what I'm going to do with cybernetics, so that way, there's a little bit more options other than what's in the book, essentially. But whatever, we'll have to see. Bottom line is my players loved the game. They had a lot of fun doing it. They're willing and wanting to play again, in another session. So I'm actually hyped to use the mission generator tables that are in the back of that book that I've talked about in the past previously in other videos, and use that to kind of help build a Cyborg campaign. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting and fun to use. I might have to do a live stream or something where I just go through and just roll up a random mission, and we just kind of work a mission together and create a mission together for my players to to kind of tackle. So anyway, I'm gonna leave this video right here because this video has gone on a little bit longer than I've wanted it to. I've kind of rambled a little bit, but let me know in the comment section below if you've played Cy Borg and what your experiences were like, and whether or not you had some of the same issues that my group had, or whether or not you had different issues. And let me know what you liked about the system, what you didn't like about the system as well. I think that'd be pretty useful to get some of that feedback. And kind of look and see what other people have done with the system and some of the changes that they've made to it. As always, if you liked what you heard, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Both of those things will help me out very much so. Drive-Thru RPG affiliate link is in the description as well. I will leave an affiliate link if you want to purchase the PDF copy of Cy Borg. I will also leave a link to the Free League Publishing website if you want to get a physical print copy of Cy Borg as well. Channel membership and Patreon links are also in the description if you want to support the channel more directly, and I will see you all next time. And that's the chip truth, chummers. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more Shadowrun content. Hit that notification bell so you will always know when I upload a brand new Shadowrun video, and until next time, remember to shoot straight and never, ever deal with a dragon.